through to the last 8 of this competition, Champions League or European Cup, for only the 3rd time in their history. That's into the last 8 of the competition. A gulf in terms of historical experience. But here come Juventus with the ball on the left-hand side with Alex Sandro, who's powering down the left wing but runs the ball straight out of play. Chris Sutton's with us for the commentary here on 5 Live, who played against and scored against Juventus in the Champions League. So what about it, Chris?
Well, no surprises with the Tottenham setup. They've got that back four, usual setup for Spurs. The interesting way is how Juventus have set up. Talk about their being a back three. I think that they'll go from a 3 to a 4 at times. Dybala just...
his feet, and the referee waved play on. And now Dembele, who was such an important figure for Tottenham in that first leg, where the Tottenham midfield, Tottenham had more possession.
Feature of the way they play. They'll sit in, they'll make it difficult for Spurs, and then they will break at pace.
Harry Kane plays the ball to the left-hand side. Son's into the penalty area, onto his left foot, shoots across goal, and Buffon goes down to his left. Excellent goalkeeping. He had to dive to his left, but was able to parry the ball away with the deflection that took it away from anyone in a white shirt.
Yeah, and a Son over Lamela. That was a decision Mauricio Pochettino had to make. But for Spurs in these early stages, get the ball to Son, and he's isolating Barzagli in that right back position. Good little step over, powerful shot, and a smart save from Buffon.
I think it is a back three, as we've established, and so we've got Son, the Korean, is full of energy against the 36-year-old right-sided defender Barzagli.
And it's very lopsided, isn't it, the way they're playing. Barzagli actually playing virtually in a right-back role, with Sandro playing high up on that left-hand side as a wing-back.
Yeah, looking at it from our commentary box here, it looks very open, doesn't it? But they are the masters of defence, as you expertly outlined in the build-up to the commentary. Juventus, this brilliant defensive record that they had, as the ball is played back to Lloris in the 6-yard box to our right, a left-footed clearance from him towards the halfway line, and the Moroccan international Benatia got his head to it, and now here's the gnarled, chiselled features of Chiellini, who plays the ball to his left, but Alex Sandro's pass over the top is comfortably through for a goal kick to Tottenham, and it's 0-0 in the very early stages here. 4 minutes played. Actually, by this stage in Turin, Juventus were already leading by 1-0. We'll keep you across all of the other matches being played tonight. Not the busiest of evenings, but Manchester City Basel with City 4-0 up from the first leg, and just looking to rubber stamp their position in the last days of the Champions League for this season. Conor McNamara is at the City of Manchester Stadium and will keep us across all of the events that you need to know there. But here's Eriksen, the fair-haired Dane, playing it to the right-hand side. Trippier out towards the right-hand side. Harry Kane has drifted over there. Challenge comes in on him, and it's deflected out of play for a throw-in to Tottenham. Almost up level with the edge of the Juventus penalty area. Huge following for the Italian champions, between 3,000 and 4,000 of... here inside Wembley Stadium, the first competitive... He's passed it straight out of play.
Well, the first couple of times when the ball did go back to Lloris, He just punted the ball forward, took no chances. That was sloppy. Poor pass out. That gives Juventus a throw in high up on the right-hand side.
Nerves, Chris? Understandable, if so.
I think so. And, Mauricio Pochettino talking about they should enjoy the game. Easier said than done. There is so much at stake.
Ben Davies up against Douglas Costa, stabbed.
Still there. One.
Pjanic plays it towards the left-hand side, and then across comes Alexandro. Now Douglas Costa on the right-hand side, left-footed ball swirled in towards the back post, but over the top of Higuain, who was falling away from it, and it's through for a goal kick, 0-0.
Costa will look to do that from the right-hand side. I'm a little bit surprised that he started on the right-hand side, because Trippier in December against Manchester City was given such a hard time by Sane from Manchester City, and I thought that Juventus, Allegri may have tried to exploit that situation.
Clearance downfield by Lloris, and it's tidied up by Alexandro. Heads it back to Gianluigi Buffon, the great Buffon. Watching at close quarters last night when he was talking to us, looked like a film star, Chris, when he walked in. Thick mane of shiny black hair, spoke so confidently.
That makes two of you.
if only. But it's still not certain whether he will actually retire at the end of the season, and clearly there are discussions to be had over that. I'll be having discussions with you later as well. But Tottenham 0, Juventus 0. 2-2 is the aggregate score. Here's Lloris, left-footed, strikes it downfield. Harry Kane is beaten to it by Benatia, who deflects it out of play. The ball is quickly returned by a ball boy. Trippier takes the throw down the line, down the right-hand side. Ericsson was onto that, but so came the challenge from Chiellini, who was able to touch it out of play. Chiellini's in the same boat as Buffon. I have a feeling we're going to see them against England in the friendly match later this month. That squad will be named before too long. Italy under caretaker management at the moment. They're still talking about the possibility of Antonio Conte getting that job, although some of the Italian journalists I was talking to last night seemed to be more confident of Conte ending up at Paris Saint-Germain. Tottenham playing the ball to the edge of the area. Son tries a shot. It's mishit really by Son and cleared away on the edge of the penalty area. So to Manchester, because Conor McNamara.
Because within 8 minutes, Manchester City have taken the lead on the night. They are now 5-0 up on aggregate. Gabriel Jesus finishing a sweeping move. And Sané with an amazing dribble as he does. And then a pinpoint cross from Bernardo Silva. And I think Pep Guardiola is going to be so happy this evening, as he does seem to be. 1-0 on the night, 5-0 on aggregate. As good as done.
Yeah, and Gabriel Jesus, that's his first goal for some little while. I know he's been injured, but that ends his goal-scoring drought. Tottenham 0, Juventus 0, here on BBC 5 Live. The Champions League, live from Wembley Stadium. Son on the left-hand side. Everything for Tottenham, it seems, or almost everything, has gone down the left. And Son here has won a corner, first corner of the match.
Yeah, and I have to say, I was surprised when he was left out in Turin. It's a big call, I think, to leave him out, but he's been the most effective player for Spurs down this left-hand side, and Spurs have started well, they've settled well.
They have, and they've got this corner that Ben Davies is going to take. Deep one towards the back post. It's headed down by Barzagli. It bounces back to him, and Chiellini actually swings a leg at it and clears it away towards the halfway line where Sanchez almost lost out. But Tottenham have won back possession in centre field. Vertonghen played it back to Dembele, who returns it all the way towards Lloris. A little flurry of applause from the Tottenham fans in front of us. Actually, I think we've got a mixture of Tottenham and Juventus in front of us here. You can spot them quite easily with their tight, shiny little anoraks, or alternatively, absolutely enormous parkas with furry hoods, and the look of that almost you will only see from Italians. The ball played towards the halfway line, where it's flicked on down the line, but Khedira can't keep it in, and it's out of play for a throw into Tottenham, 10 yards inside their own half. So 0-0 here.
It's interesting because that ball went back to Lloris that time. He took no chances, punted it up the pitch. Don't want to give any easy chances away. Don't make it easy for this talented Juventus side to score.
Davies takes the throw. just a couple of yards away from Maurizio Pochettino, his manager. Ball's turned back by Chiellini, who didn't get the best contact on that. Eriksen looked to close down Buffon, who was able to pass it out towards the left-hand side to Alex Sandro, and it comes back into central defence. Kept clean sheets in their last 3 matches. They've only played 3 matches since the first leg. Juventus, the match against Atalanta was one of the victims of the beast from the east, where there were huge drifts of snow in Turin. I saw in the pictures. Little did we know that they were heading our way. Tottenham with the ball on the right-hand side. Well, we did know, because it was flagged up more than any snowstorm I think in the last 20 years. Ball played back towards Lloris on the edge of his own penalty area. Now Vertonghen takes possession, left-footed and long from him, looking for Dele Alli. 2 Juventus defenders come together, Benatia and Barzagli, but the experienced Barzagli took control there. He was decisive, and he just had a little look at Benatia to his left, and a little wag of the finger as well. Now Juventus, here's Dybala. We've not really seen him involved in the action so far tonight. Dybala, remember, he and Matuidi missed the first leg because of injury. Now Alexandra on the left-hand side goes for the early cross towards Higuain, but Vertonghen was able to come across, tower above Higuain, and headed out of play on the far side for a throw-in to Juventus. 0-0.
You mentioned Vertonghen, John. He's going to be key for Spurs at the back, organising Sanchez, making sure he's in the right positions, making sure he's not rash, pulling Davies in, making Spurs compact.
Dembele now to Eric Dyer, and here's Eriksen in some space. 4 of the centre circle. Eriksen towards Harry Kane on the edge of the area, beats Chiellini. Kane into the penalty area. Benatia came across, good challenge, took the ball away from Harry Kane, but that's a little victory for Kane against Chiellini there.
Well, you don't often see that. Chiellini went to ground and Kane didn't go down, took the ball on timely from Matuidi.
And Tottenham have got possession again on the halfway line. So Tottenham 0, Juventus 0. Still in the first 15 minutes of the match. If you just joined us on 5 Live, if you're on your way home, Manchester City are already winning 1-0 tonight in the second leg against Basel, so that's 5-0 on aggregate. Gabriel Jesus scored the goal there. And here is Dele Alli for Tottenham. Gives it out to Son, who begins to cut in field, but yellow Juventus shirts are there in number. Ben Davies takes possession on the left-hand side. Here's Son, all action. Son taking on Barzagli, very nearly got past him. Then the follow-up challenge from Barzagli, and then the covering challenges there from Douglas Costa. Juventus being forced back into their own right-back area, and eventually Benatia has to go long. This is excellent pressing from Tottenham, might lead to something. Flick from Dele Alli. Son on the left side of the box. His cross hits Benatia and spins behind for a goal kick. Obviously bounced back onto Son, or did he overrun it?
No, I think it was brilliant last-ditch defending from Benatia. Clever little back heel to put Son away. Benatia off his feet. I think maybe that should have been a corner. I think we'll see plenty of this tonight from the Italian defenders. As we're looking at a replay of Chiellini, actually the ball actually hits his hand in the box as it drifts past Kane. Oh,
you're not going to give a penalty for that, are you? It is 0-0, very early stages. I mentioned the fact that here's Kane now into the penalty area. He's around Buffon, and he shoots into the side netting.
Oh,
well, it
so
came
close,
from
Harry
Dele
Kane.
Alli's little ball through to Harry Kane, who shrugged off Chiellini again. But there was a covering defender, Benatia in the middle as well. And from the tight angle, Kane shot into the side netting.
It's a big chance, so really left Chiellini in his wake. As the ball slid on the inside of Chiellini in that left centre-half position, and Kane makes up a couple of yards, goes round Buffon. Got to hit the target there. You fancy Harry Kane. That chance to fall to anybody. You'd want Harry Kane on it. It's a big chance missed.
It is. But it's another little victory for Kane over Chiellini. That's 2 now in a short space of time. And he is giving Chiellini, the great Chiellini, food for thought here. Harry Kane coming into this match, having scored 11 goals in his last 11 appearances in the Champions League. 9 goals in 9 appearances in this competition. 7 of them this season. Of course, Ronaldo is out and away as the leading scorer in the competition again this season. I heard Ian Dennis, who was in Paris last night, saying that he scored in every match this season in the Champions League, Ronaldo. Tottenham 0, Juventus 0. Paris last night, London tonight at a packed Wembley Stadium. There'll certainly be 80,000 plus. Obviously, for the Champions League, there are certain sections that are covered over. Davis now to Dele Alli, who takes the ball down, and Dele Alli is off on a run away from Khedira, steers the ball out towards the left-hand side where Kane allows it to run towards the corner flag, but now is able to run back towards the halfway line and swing over one of those Harry Kane passes. He was looking for Kieran Trippier, who had stolen into the area on the right-hand side, but it was intercepted, cut out by Alex Sandro, who has many admirers in the Premier League. Alex Sandro, and now here's Dybala, plays the ball through towards the edge of the area. Douglas Costa is there. Douglas Costa taking on Vertonghen. He's away from him, and down goes Douglas Costa, and the referee says, no, it's a goal kick, and Juventus players, 5 of them, have run towards the referee, who backs away. Now those Juventus players are all waving their arms at the assistant referee behind the goal line and saying to him, how did you not spot that was a penalty? That is their point.
My initial reaction, John, is penalty to Juve. I think there was contact. Costa really gets the burners on, gets away from Vertonghen. There is contact, and he goes down. Should have been a penalty to Juve. Spurs have gotten away with one there.
Remember, Douglas Costa won the penalty in the first leg, and here a decision goes against Dele Alli, and it's a free kick to Juventus. And now with the ball dead, the Juventus players again going to referee Marciniak and just making their point. I think they've made it very clearly and very forcibly, Juventus's players, that they are convinced that that should have been a penalty. Right, 0-0 here at Wembley. But back to Manchester and Conor McNamara.
And an unlikely equaliser on the evening. Mohamed Elyounoussi has volleyed home from close range beyond Claudio Bravo. Really first attack into the penalty area that Basel had created in the game. Made it 1-1 in the night, but they trail 5-1 in aggregate.
So already much more excitement than Alistair Bruce-Ball was able to report on at Anfield last evening. Here, no goals, but the first big controversial moment of the night, Chris Sutton.
And the warning of the danger that Juve possess up top. And it was really poor from Vertonghen. He went to ground. It was good play from Costa. Really isolated him. But there was contact, and Costa went down. It had to be a penalty. And that's a huge moment. And I can understand the Juventus players' frustration in that moment.
The only reason that I can think that they didn't give it was the fact that the ball had almost gone. Do you know what I mean? Costa had played the ball towards the dead ball line, and it wasn't as if the ball was just in front of him. Whether they felt that the ball had gone, but it was a surprise. Now here's Son at the other end. Son takes the ball down inside the penalty area, plays it back to Davis. Davis into Dele Alli. Oh, lovely drag back from Ali. Eriksson with a shot, diving header away actually by Alex Sandro. Trippier though. Trippier's crossed to the back post. Son with a header, punched away by Buffon. Still the pressure. Eriksson drives it back in. Deflected up in the air on the edge of the box. Still it's there. Dele Alli. Oh, and then a crunching challenge to win it back. 25 yards from goal from Eric Dyer. But Juventus have nicked it away. And now Sami Khedira is challenged strongly and well by Davinson Sanchez, who puts it out for a throw.
Well, it's come to life, hasn't it, the game? Juventus defending so deep, getting blocks in, but really clever from Spurs in and around that Juventus box. Ball crossed to the far post. Good header from Son, trying to go back across Buffon. He makes a decent save. But then once again, Juventus looking sharp on the break.
So Tottenham 0, Juventus 0. BBC 5 Live. Chris Sutton with us. And I was mentioning the fact you played against Juventus. Give us an idea of what it's like when you play against, tough as teak Italian defenders.
Yeah, well, you're in a game. They're rough, they're rugged. They don't always play to the rules. They are streetwise. Italian defenders are notoriously streetwise, and that's what the Spurs players will have to contest with. Interesting, I saw a quote from Pep today talking about players at this level, now at this stage of the competition, mustn't lose their heads. And the Italian team will be doing everything they can to wind the Spurs players up.
Mind you, knowing you as we now do, I bet you gave a little bit back to those Juventus defenders, didn't you?
How dare you?
Here's Kane down the right-hand side. Kane, this time it's Benatia who has gone out across to him. Kane plays it infield, and Dyer will try his luck with a shot from 22, 23 yards, but mishit it really, and Buffon was able to go down to his left and hold it. Kane, incidentally, was challenged a few moments ago by Benatia near the halfway line. Real uncompromising challenge. Benatia put his knee into the back of Kane's thigh as the two of them jousted for the ball, but he's okay. He's back up on his feet. Harry Kane, he could, if he scores tonight, Harry Kane, and he's already had one decent chance, it would be the first time that he's managed 36 goals in a season for Tottenham. 35 at the moment in all of the competitions, which equals his personal best in a season for Tottenham. Here's Chiellini at the back, lifting the ball forward, headed back into the centre circle by Vertonghen, and then Son. Dele Alli stretches for it, but Benatia is able to set himself. Played to Douglas Costa. Infield towards Khedira. Now a flick from Higuain. Dybala shoots from 25 yards straight into the back of Sanchez as Juventus play from left to right as we look from our glass-fronted 5 Live commentary box here at Wembley Stadium. Pjanic in the central area, out towards the left-hand side. Alexandro's going back towards the halfway line. So
just listen to the hush when Juventus get the ball. There's a nervousness because they look such a threat. Costa's pace, Higuain playing on the shoulder, and Dybala. We've only seen fleeting glimpses so far, but he doesn't need too many glimpses.
Tottenham, good form here at Wembley Stadium this season, having lost only the 2 matches. There were all sorts of doom and gloom about what might happen to them here, but after losing the first match against Chelsea, their record is excellent. Dembele now playing it forward towards Son. Son takes it into his path. He's speeding away from Matuidi into the area, shoots from the angle, but 2 men were there. Matuidi and also Chiellini came across, and the pair of them blocked it behind for a corner.
Yeah, Chiellini squared up. Matuidi does well to get back, puts Son under pressure, but it's Chiellini with the block, a little fist pump with Buffon.
Corner for Tottenham from the left-hand side. And Ben Davies, the Welsh left back, strides forward, places the ball in the quadrant. Eriksen thought about coming short, Dele Alli as well. Davies just indicates that Ali might come for it, but no, Davies takes this corner towards the back post, where it's headed wide by Vertonghen from, 10 yards. There's a little bit of pushing and pulling inside the penalty area. You would have expected nothing less, but it's a goal kick and it's 0-0 and it's still 2-2 on aggregate.
Yeah, it's good defending that. Not letting Vertonghen, it was an out-swinging corner, left-footed, and Benatia it was. Not letting Vertonghen get a free header.
Producer George Chris has told me that on social media, the MP David Lammy, who is the Tottenham MP, has suggested that was a dive by Douglas Costa. I suspect the fact that he's the MP for Tottenham means he's not entirely neutral. Here's Sanchez who clears it away.
MPs don't always tell the truth.
Chris Sutton. We'll have you on Andrew Neil next. Free kick in centre field for Tottenham. Eric Dyer's taken a bang. He's lying on his back after the challenge on him from Matuidi.
It's a strong challenge. It's an aerial challenge from Matuidi. He just catches Dyer, who lands awkwardly, and that doesn't look good for Spurs. He's got Wanyama, who can come on in a like-for-like role. Worrying signs.
We're just having another chance to have a look at what Juventus were absolutely certain was a penalty. And we're just seeing the angle that makes it look as though you can understand why they thought that.
He doesn't catch him once, he catches him twice, Vertonghen. He goes to the ground, catches him initially, and then his outstretched foot catches Costa again. It's a penalty. It would be a penalty if it was a Tottenham player. It's a penalty. But a Juventus player.
But it wasn't given, so it's still Tottenham 0, Juventus 0. Eric Dyer still receiving treatment. So elsewhere, Manchester City 1, Basel 1 after Gabriel Jesus gave City the lead, but that's 5-1 in aggregate. Still Kilmarnock 0, St Johnstone 0. Eric Dyer getting to his feet. And in the one game tonight in the Championship, the leaders Wolves, Elland Road against Leeds United, John Akers.
It's 0-0, but Wolves should be ahead. Jota with a great chance. Looked like all he had to do was make contact 3 yards out with his left foot into an empty net, but he made a right mess of it. Bonatini's then had a good chance from a free kick. It's all Wolves, it's 0-0.
Eric Dyer's still not come back onto the pitch, standing on the far side with a couple of the Tottenham medical people. So Tottenham currently playing with 10 men without Eric Dyer. Sanchez clears it towards the halfway line. And the other match later on this evening, by the way, England's final match at the She Believes Cup. They're in Florida now, in Orlando. Joe Curry will keep us posted on that. We're going to hear from her at half-time, actually. And you can watch that game on BBC Two or on the website, the iPlayer. From midnight tonight, they're on air, I think, at 10 to 11 for the USA-England match. Tottenham 0, Juventus 0. This is BBC 5 Live. And Eric Dyer gets a cheer as he returns to the pitch. But we'll just need to keep an eye on him to see if he's okay. I think it seemed to fall awkwardly on his knee, he seemed to be looking at. Here he is, bouncing ball for Eric Dyer, who, remember, captained England earlier this season. The England squad, the next England squad will be named next week. Next Thursday it is, and there'll be some interesting selections judging by what we're hearing this week from Gareth Southgate. We'll have that for you on 5 Live next Thursday. Here's Dybala on the right-hand side. Vertonghen comes in with a challenge. It's late. Yellow card comes out for Vertonghen. Free kick to Juventus, 10 yards inside the Tottenham half.
Yes, clever from Dybala. Takes the ball. Quick touch on the half-turn away from Vertonghen, who commits. And that's Dybala's threat. Superb feet, knows exactly what he's going to do. And clear yellow card.
Tottenham 0, Juventus 0. So that is the first yellow card of the evening. Benatia swings the ball out towards the left-hand side, but high above the head of Alex Sandro, or at least too high for him to keep in play, and he almost caught it, actually. Throwing to Tottenham. And Spurs with Eric Dyer, who just runs away from Matuidi, plays it back to Davinson Sanchez behind him, and the Colombian international Sanchez gives it to Dele Alli on the halfway line, who actually slipped as he rolled the ball to Trippier on the right flank. Trippier, with Matuidi arriving, just leaves it, and now it's back to the halfway line for Tottenham. So after that burst of activity, and I noticed the two medical men have just given a report to Mauricio Pochettino, the Tottenham coach, as to exactly how Dyer is. Oh, clever from Son. He backed away as Barzali headed away from the edge of the penalty area. Dembele now towards Eric Dyer. Dyer out to the right-hand side to Kieran Trippier. Eriksen comes short to him. This is still in the central third of the field. Eric Dyer. And then back it goes towards the halfway line. And after that powerful start, that very positive start, this is the first little period of caginess that we've seen in the game. But good possession from Tottenham, and Eriksen now towards Son. There is space out on the right-hand side. Eric Dyer is going to drive it in towards the edge of the area. He drove it straight onto the head of Chiellini. And Dembele wins the ball back, and it breaks now to Vertonghen. And then here is Ben Davis, goes for the early cross, took a double deflection. Benatia was able to pass it away on the edge of the area. And there is news of a goal in Leeds, John Akers.
Leeds 0, Wolves 1. It had been coming from a corner. Free header for Saiss, stooping down on his knees, 6 yards out, into the corner, and Wolves went to ground. And Kane didn't.
Really big game for Arsenal, which kicks off at 6 o'clock in Italy against AC Milan. Gennaro Gattuso's AC Milan. Alistair Bruce Ball will be on his way to Italy tomorrow, and we'll keep you across that match during Drive tomorrow. But such an important game for Arsenal in the modern history of the club, and indeed as regards the future of Arsene Wenger, it would seem. Kilmarnock have taken the lead against St Johnstone, a penalty from Chris Boyd, so Kilmarnock 1-0 up. And here we've played half an hour. Chris Sutton, sum it up.
Yeah, a little bit of a lull now, Spurs keeping possession, but it's been a really interesting opening 30 minutes. Spurs haven't got the goal they really wanted. Juventus should have had a penalty. Spurs keeping the ball particularly well, but while it's 0-0, the longer it goes, I think the more nervous this stadium is going to get.
Tottenham 0, Juventus 0. Spurs scored those 2 goals memorably. Harry Kane and Christian Eriksen with that very clever free kick in Turin. But aside from that, in their last 19 matches, Juventus have conceded just the 1 goal. But the fact that Tottenham scored 2 goals against them makes it all the more fascinating. 0-0 on the night. Juventus should have had a penalty. Here is Harry Kane, who turns into Pjanic. What a fantastic change of feet that was from Pjanic to take Eriksen out of the game. And now the ball played over the top for Higuain, but the flag is up, and it's a free kick to Tottenham.
He plays right on the shoulder. Higuain just goes half a yard too soon there. He's one here, he needs a chance. Higuain, big boost for Juventus, but he's fit.
Very much so. He actually injured his ankle, I think it was after about 15 minutes of the derby against Torino, which was the match after the first leg. Barzagli and Son. Now, Barzagli put his foot down there, and I think he made contact with Son, who's still on the ground. Kane back towards Dele Alli, who shoots, and Buffon is able to drop down to his right. He sort of flopped down, just stunned the ball, took the pace off it, and then whacks it out of play so that Son can receive some treatment. Yeah, it was after a bouncing ball, this, wasn't it? And Barzagli and Son.
I think he landed on Son, and Son just tried to keep him off with his foot, if I've explained that correctly. I don't think he's kicked out. We're just looking at that Dele Alli chance again, 25 yards out, just really chokes it into the ground. Buffon makes a save. We're just seeing that incident again. Actually, Barzagli, he actually stands on Son, and I think Son is saying, get off. And Barzagli has a little kick out at him. That's a bit naughty, I think, that.
It's from Barzagli, that's a real... Oh, have I stood on you? So,
yeah.
Did I stand on you? Didn't mean to do that.
And then Son does have a little flick out.
He does.
Barzagli goes back.
The ball out of play, and Son is still receiving treatment. It was just under his left knee where the Italian boot came down.
I think that's a really naughty challenge. I do. From Barzagli on Son. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly where his boot is going to land. It's a poor challenge, and Son reacted.
Tottenham 0, Juventus 0. Going to go back to Manchester in a moment. But Tottenham with Vertonghen, who comes flying into the challenge with the ball bouncing up, just whacks it forward. And now Dele Alli gets the ball down. Dele Alli with a little shimmy of the hips. Gives it to Son. Now Eriksen lifts it back out towards the left-hand side here to Harry Kane, who curls it goalwards, but not enough bend on it. And it curls beyond the far post for a goal kick.
Good spot to Harry Kane on that left-hand side of the box. We've seen it so many times, him find that far corner. Know exactly what he's going to do. He wasn't far away. It's wide of that far post.
Tottenham 0, Juventus 0, 5 Live Champions League. There'll be a 5 Live Football Social on air tonight. Mark Chapman is here with us, the much loved Mark Chapman, newly crowned Sports Presenter of the Year from the Sports Journalists Association, which we're all very pleased for him about. And I mean that most sincerely. Here's Son in the centre circle. Dembele turns, gives the ball out towards the right-hand side. Trippier was caught late there by Alex Sandro. The referee spotted this one, and Alex Sandro is using his arm as if to say, get up. But the referee didn't like that. It's a yellow card for Alex Sandro.
Sandro just catching Trippier after he'd released the ball. He's protesting, but wasn't that good from Dembele? Really strong, robust play in the middle of the park to win the ball back, keeping possession. I have to say,
worth a yellow card?
There's not too much in that.
Free kick for
Trippier
Tottenham.
he makes a meal of it.
Eriksen plays it in. Poor delivery for once from Christian Eriksen. And Juventus are able to play the ball to Matuidi, who overhits it by a distance downfield. And the ball is returned towards Lloris. Sanchez back to Ben Davies, who's out there on the right-hand side after Tottenham had the set piece. Davies goes for the high ball towards the halfway line, and then it's won for Juventus by Alex Sandro, but it bounces down. Juventus players appealing, and the referee agrees that there was a handball in there, I think, against Dembele, and it's a free kick to Juventus. Good position left of centre.
Yeah, it is, and you just wonder whether the referee is losing a little bit of control. Didn't look like a handball to me, but this is an opportunity.
Chris, such was the reaction when the penalty wasn't given to Juventus. It's one of those where the officials will be thinking here, we've probably got that wrong, because of such was the reaction from the Juventus players. I would read. Maybe come back to that, because Juventus have this free kick which Pjanic plays in towards the edge of the area. A diving Sanchez heads it away back towards Pjanic, and now Alex Sandro is challenged shoulder to shoulder by Trippier.
I'll tell you, Sanchez has been absolutely fantastic in this opening 35-36 minutes. He really hasn't put a foot wrong yet. Defended strongly, superb header from that free kick. Got the ball, played it easily. Big night for him.
We're into the last 10 minutes of this first half. 5 live. Tottenham 0, Juventus 0. 2-2 on aggregate. So currently that, because of the 2 away goals, is certainly good enough for Tottenham to go through. But there's a long way to go yet. And already we've seen chances. Tottenham have had chances. Harry Kane, Son with the early effort. And at the other end, Juventus should have had the penalty. But Lloris, aside from that, he's had very little to do. And the ball at the back with Sanchez, who's just been praised by Chris Sutton. We will head back to Manchester very shortly, but the ball is in play here, and Dembele now stands up against Sami Khedira and goes round him and has his shirt pulled, and that's a free kick. Free kick to Tottenham in the central third.
How good has he been all season? But Spurs so good in possession. Injuring 67%. Injuring just starting to feel comfortable and confident and pop the ball around.
And why shouldn't they, having already beaten Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid here? Davies plays the ball through to Son. Son into the area, steps away and shoots across goal. That looked to have 1-0 Tottenham written all over it when he wriggled away and created space for himself, but then miscued the shot across goal and wide.
He's got to hit the target there, Son. Where's Chiellini up, drives into the box, that step over, right foot shifts it onto his left foot as he 10 yards out at an angle and drags it agonisingly past that far post. Didn't make Buffon work. You've got to make the keeper work in those situations. Brilliant skill, just lacked the finish.
You hope for Tottenham's sake he hasn't used up all his goals against Huddersfield and Rochdale in the last couple of matches. Now that Juventus are here, scored 4 goals in those 2 games. Well, that's a lovely ball from Kane through to Eriksen. Dele Alli is in. Ball bounces away after the challenge. Son at the back post, scores, drives it in. Spurs were all over Juventus there. The chance, it seemed, would certainly come, and it did to Son. And this time he found the target. He found the back of the net. It's Tottenham 1, Juventus 0.
Getting there.
Well, how big a goal is that for Spurs and for Son? Brilliant defending initially. I think it was Benatia stopping Ali shot, and as it pops out, it's crossed along the 6-yard line, and Son, I don't think he gets a really good connection. I think he chokes it into the ground. Buffon goes down, it ends up in the back of the net. Son won't care, he actually kicks it into the floor. Buffon goes down, hits the back of the net. It's a long way back for Juventus now. Big goal for Spurs.
Really big goal. Created by Harry Kane's pass from the halfway line, really. What are you laughing at?
It's a total mishit from Son. It's right foot onto left foot, and it spins into the net. You wouldn't even call it a shank. It's worse than a shank. It's an incredible. And Son, you see Son celebrating. He doesn't care, but he fluffed his lines. It ends up in the back of the net.
Yep. Have a look at the papers in the morning. Have a look at the website.
He didn't fluff his lines.
It will say Son 39, and he's just scored what could be such a valuable goal for Tottenham Hotspur. That's his 16th goal of the season. But it came, as I was going to say, Chris, from Kane's excellent pass through to Eriksen, who found space. And from that point on, this much vaunted Juventus defence were really struggling. But here comes Douglas Costa into the penalty area, stabs it across. It's gone all the way to Alexandro. Now back to the edge of the area. Pjanic shoots narrowly wide of the foot of Lloris's right post.
That really wasn't far away. Pjanic right on the 18-yard line. I don't know whether Lloris would have had that covered. Juventus had to respond. They responded quickly. Costa in the real threat down the right-hand side. Pjanic tries to do Lloris with the eyes. Lloris may have just about been getting there, but not far away.
Tottenham 1, Juventus 0. Just to go back to the Spurs goal, the opening goal of the night. It was Eriksen who received the ball, slipped in Dele Alli, who was through in the inside right position. That drew Barzali across, who put the challenge, I mean, a good challenge on Dele Alli, who was shaping himself to get a shot in on goal. But, you know, the spaces were there, defenders had been drawn all over, and in the end, when it was crossed to Son at the back post, even though the finish was not vintage, it was good enough. And it's 1-0 to Tottenham. And the pasties have arrived. And they smell lovely. I'm not sure I can manage all of that. Tottenham lead Juventus by 1-0.
To be honest, John, they deserve it. You know,
the pasties?
They've been the braver team. They've been the better team. They've been the more threatening team. Pochettino speaking about maturity and bravery. I think they've shown that in this first half performance.
Agreed. Yep. I mentioned the fact before the game, we talked about it in Turin, the bottle they showed there. They've shown it again here tonight. Higuain, though, has been fouled forward of the centre circle, and Juventus have a free kick. 3-2 on aggregate, 1-0 on the night to Tottenham. That goal scored 3 minutes ago. Juventus with Pjanic curls the ball high into the penalty area. Sanchez was after it. He wasn't able to get a touch on it. And in the end, the header across. I think it was Chiellini who was under it and headed it back across. It was Chiellini along with Alexandro, and it was Alexandro who got his head to it over the top of the crossbar. Never threatened Lloris's goal. And it is a goal kick. It is still Manchester City 1, Basel 1. In fact, let's go back to Conor McNamara with half-time approaching in Manchester.
Yeah, still Manchester City 1, Basel 1. 5-1 to City on aggregate. Gabriel Jesus put City in front. That was after only 8 minutes. Elifanoussi equalised for Basel. Since then, Oberlin has hit the side netting with a free kick. And Phil Foden, who started for City tonight, has had one chance. He'll be disappointed, though, with the fresh air shot of a key moment. So, closing in on half-time, 1-1 of the night. Manchester City still leading 5-1 on aggregate.
A yellow card for Pjanic now here. Second Juventus player to be booked by the Polish referee. Ball came, he just had a swing at the ball, Pjanic missed it, made contact with Dele Alli, and for that, a yellow card.
Well, I have to say, with Dele Alli these days, I'm never sure. Never sure whether there's contact, never sure whether he just throws himself to the floor. Pjanic gets a yellow card.
Kilmarnock still leading St Johnstone by 1-0, but St Johnstone are down to 10 men because Jason Kerr's been sent off, and it's still Leeds United 0, Wolves 1 in the night's only match in the Championship. Here's Douglas Costa on the right-hand side. Juventus will feel extremely aggrieved because that penalty wasn't given when Douglas Costa was challenged by Vertonghen. Now, an offside flag against Alexandro on the far side after Chiellini worked the ball to him, and it's a free kick to Tottenham in their own right back area.
Yeah, I think of course Juventus will feel they should have had a penalty, but take nothing away from this Spurs performance, the way they've passed the ball, the chances they have created. I think he is just offside with that one. Juventus haven't done enough, and Spurs have been the better side.
Fantastic stage for a match like that. This, isn't it? Wembley Stadium, the 3 tiers, and barely an empty seat, and a really fascinating game of football that we're watching here. Tottenham leading by 1-0, so 3-2 up on aggregate. Spurs looking to reach the last 8 of the European Cup or the Champions League for only the 3rd time. Last time they did it under Harry Redknapp in 2011, where at this stage of the competition, remember, they knocked out AC Milan, Peter Crouch scoring in Italy. That was Massimiliano Allegri's AC Milan at the time. And he's down there on the side of the pitch watching his defender Chiellini play it back to goalkeeper Buffon, who has been beaten tonight for the third time in the tie by Tottenham. Son scoring the goal. Another goal at Elland Road, John Akers.
It's turning into a good night for Wolves. Leeds 0, Wolves 2. A header from Bath came back off the bar, and there was Bolly to nod it into the net. They're not happy here at Elland Road. They've had one shot leads. Wolves have had 11 efforts at goal in the first half. They lead 2-0.
Another possibility for Tottenham here. The ball played into the area for Dele Alli. On the right side of the box, tried to pull it back, but it was cleared away by Juventus, and it's out of play for a throw-in. We have 2 minutes of added time that we're into at the end of this first half, Chris Sutton, and Spurs, good value for it. And the reason I say it like that is because of that, the penalty that wasn't given Juventus's way.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. There's no doubt it was a big moment. But what it does do, Allegri has a decision or two to make. They have to offer more of an attacking threat. Higuain hasn't been in the game. Juventus need 2 goals just to stay in the tie, to win the tie, to stay in the tie. And how are they going to do that? They're not going to do that by sitting in, as they are at the moment.
Here's Harry Kane with his back to the penalty area. Does well, tries to hold it up. Challenge comes in on him. Then Dembele is picked up. In fact, that's the end of the first half. The half-time whistle goes, and immediately Pjanic is across to the referee, waving his arms around. And whether Massimiliano Allegri will wait to speak to the Polish referee. Certainly Mauricio Pochettino has disappeared away down the tunnel. But Juventus, and now I'm looking at Higuain just walking across towards the referee. Chiellini has given him a glare. And Higuain now, the referee is talking over his shoulder to Higuain. The talking point being the penalty that was not given Juventus's way when it was 0-0 for Vertonghen's challenge on Douglas Costa. And now the referee surrounded by yellow Juventus shirts as he eventually reaches the tunnel. But Chris Sutton, Tottenham winning 1-0 at half-time.
Yeah, and you know, the Juventus players clearly trying to put pressure on the referee. But as a whole, you know, these things happen in football. Spurs have played better than Juventus. They've been the stronger team. They've been the more potent team. And Juventus somehow have to respond. They're clutching with that. You know, they haven't done enough. They didn't do enough in the first tie. Juventus, they certainly haven't done enough tonight. And the better team is in front, full stop.
Tottenham 1, Juventus 0 at half-time. And Mark Chapman is here with us.
Plenty of texts and tweets on the Juventus penalty shout. Keith Stonewall penalty not once but twice for Tongan. Caught him, Ross. Costas took an extra step after the contact. That's cost him getting a penalty. And Ben, making the obvious point here, there were 3 officials in close proximity to this challenge, and they judged it to be no penalty. I don't understand that. Because, Chris, even if the ref's view was obscured somehow, the assistant referee is on this touchline, i.e. the one nearest to where the challenge was, and the assistant behind the goal couldn't have been any more than 10 yards away from the challenge, again on the right side of the area to get the perfect view.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't understand it. And you know, we're sitting here high up. Normally your first impression is correct in these things, and it just looked a penalty. And for there be to so many officials in such a close proximity not to see that, you know, could you suggest that it was a too big a decision? Did the officials bottle that? I would suggest they did.
The interesting thing on Spurs in general, and it's where the goal was scored from, is that Son has caused Juventus the most problems in this sort of either wide left or inside left channel. That's where he's got free several times.
Yeah, he's been the danger, especially early on, and it's a problem for Juventus. Barzagli, 36 years old, he doesn't want to be dragged out, and he has been dragged out. Spurs have been clever getting the ball out to Son and exploiting that situation. Maybe a bit fortunate he was with the finish, but Spurs have looked the bigger threat. They've created the better chances. Juventus haven't offered enough. Second half, they have to do more, and they have to go for broke.
If it actually hit it properly, I think it would have hit Chiellini, and Chiellini would have blocked it. But because he hit it onto his other foot and then it spun, Chiellini actually sort of fell past the ball, and the ball ended up going behind him.
And you know what? Sometimes you make your own luck. You could say, but Son has been a threat. Juventus will feel that there's lucky. They will feel hard done by with the finish and with the penalty, but they're not doing enough.
No.
And you know that's the simple truth. They've got Higuain, a goal scorer. He hasn't had a chance. He's barely had a kick. Dybala, we talked him up. You know, the duel before the game. But we haven't seen him. Costa is the one who looks a real threat, and I suppose that's something which Pochettino may well be thinking about addressing. They need to stop Costa.
And just the final thing on the goal, as you say, it's a deserved lead for Spurs on the balance of play. But Barzagli's tackle in the build-up to the goal was absolutely... Talk about a crunching slide tackle that's still allowed in the modern game. It was brilliant.
And, you know, when you make those challenges, when you go into those challenges, you have to get them right. And we've seen some great last-ditch stuff from the Juventus old hats at the back. But, you know, Spurs got the break. They got the break with the goal, but they can go in, and they have been brave. They have been courageous. They have shown maturity in this first half, but there's still another 45 minutes to play. Obvious thing to say, the next goal is absolutely crucial.
I thought the first goal was absolutely crucial.
Well, the next one is now.
So was the first one?
Well, of course, you know, had you
well, the first one sort of crucial. And the second one will be absolutely
crucial. The first one was absolutely crucial. But if Spurs get it, it's game over. Stop grilling me.
85, that's my job. 85058 at 5Live Sport if you want to get in touch with us this evening. Griff, I said it last week, I'll say it again now. Son is one hell of a player. Jay, the Juve midfield needs to wake up because they're not protecting their defence enough. And Phil, careful Spurs, that makes Juventus even more dangerous now. They'll try and buy anything they can. No room for lax behaviour. Let's keep it tight. We'll open the phone lines later. It'll be your chance to talk to Chris Sutton. 08085 909 693. You can grill him as much as you want. Let's go to... Sorry, John Murray, did you want something?
Oh, I was just going to answer that. You know, now, it's the fact that Spurs have scored here tonight. In 21 matches, Juventus have conceded only 4 goals. 4 goals conceded in 21 matches. 3 of them have been scored by Spurs.
Let's go to the Etihad. Conor McNamara.
Yeah, we've had 2 goals here. To be honest, neither of them feel absolutely crucial. 1-1 on the night, but 5-1 to City on aggregate. Gabriel Jesus put City in front after just 8 minutes. Mohamed Elyounoussi equalised for Basel, but the 4-0 victory that City got away from home in the first leg is ample insulation for them. Phil Foden, disappointed with a fresh air shot. That might have been a key moment for him, but he just fluffed his line when he could have shot for goal. And there was one moment, which I guess you do get when you pick Claudio Bravo, when he came out of his penalty area, flicked the ball over not one, but a couple of Basel players, and then cleared it away, as you do. But it's 1-1 for now.
All right, Kilmarnock was St Johnstone 0 at half-time in the Scottish Premiership, and in the Championship, the leaders are winning at Ellen Road. John Akers.
Leeds 0, Wolves 2, but it could be 4 or 5 mark. 2 close-range headers in the end led to the goals, and it's all Wolves deserve. They've spurned several chances from open play. Jota and Bonatini have gone close, but Bolly just before half-time, and then Saiss with a free header 6 yards out is the difference between the two. Bailey Peacock-Farrell's only 21, the Northern Irishman. He's only playing his second game for Leeds United, and he's made some good saves in the game, but Leeds have barely threatened, been second best by quite a distance. Wolves 6 points clear at the top as it stands. Leeds 0, Wolves 2.
Thank you very much, John. England's women in action in the She Believes Cup at midnight tonight against the United States. You'll be able to watch it on BBC Two, and we'll hear from Phil Neville after the latest news.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
For the 5 Live News, I'm Kirsty Jones. Police have confirmed a nerve agent was used to try and poison a former Russian spy and his daughter. Sergei and Yulia Skripal are still critically ill after being found unconscious in Salisbury on Sunday, while a police officer who was the first at the scene is now in a serious condition. Here's the Chief Medical Officer for England, Sally Davis.
All the sites that the patients were known to have visited have been secured, so the public are protected. So my thanks to the superb staff of Salisbury District Hospital, and I particularly want to reiterate that at this time, with the evidence we have, this is a low risk to the public.
The Chancellor, Philip Hammond, is calling for Brussels to do a deal that includes financial services after Brexit. The EU's published its draft guidelines for what a future relationship with the UK should look like. A man's been cleared of causing death by dangerous driving after a crash on the M1 last August, which killed 8 people. 54-year-old David Wagstaff was on a hands-free call at the time of the collision. Chief Inspector Andy Story is from Thames Valley Police.
Everyone who attended will not forget the scene they faced that day. I hope the convictions provide a small measure of closure to those who survived, and for the families whose loved ones died. I hope it will serve as a deterrent to others who continue to drive on our roads.
An 18-year-old Iraqi asylum seeker is on trial at the Old Bailey, accused of planting a bomb on a London Underground train last September. Ahmed Hassan denies attempted murder and causing the explosion, which injured 30 people. The two main leaders of the far-right group Britain First have been jailed after being found guilty of religiously aggravated harassment. Paul Golding and Jada Franson have been sentenced to 4.5 months and 9 months respectively after targeting Muslims they believed were part of a gang rape trial taking place last May. And around 1,000 New Look staff could lose their jobs as part of plans to stop the retailer going into administration. The company is planning to shut 60 stores.
BBC 5 Live. Ahead of a massive weekend of sporting action, start your Saturday with the Danny Baker Show from 9.
It makes the Brexit phone-ins and Trump look like a lot of fuss about nothing. Well, who'd have thought it? Dogs and plums. Don't touch that line with a barge pole, right? That kind of story can't stay off the air.
And at 11, Mark Chapman presents build-up from Old Trafford, ahead of Manchester United v Liverpool in the Premier League.
Robertson's crossed and Mane! Here's Pogba, just on the edge. Oh, look at the space from Martial!
Still an open race, so we need to be good. In the moment we are good, but we need to stay good.
The top 4 is very difficult, and in this moment that's the main for us.
Saturday morning on BBC 5 Live. This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
Here at Wembley, Spurs lead Juventus by a goal to nil, so they're 3-2 up on aggregate. It's Manchester City 1, Basel 1. In the Championship, Leeds 0, Wolves 2. And in the Scottish Premiership, Kilmarnock 1, St Johnstone 0. England's women only need a draw against the United States tonight to win the She Believes Cup. It's live on BBC 2 later. They beat France 4-1 last Thursday and then came from behind to draw 2-2 with Germany on Sunday. Phil Neville says they won't fear the world champions.
I think we're ready now for the USA. We've tried to block out this game because it was a standout game. We've tried to focus on France and Germany and leave much of the attention in the build-up for the USA. I want to cause them problems, and that's been our game plan of what we're working on. How do we cause them problems? How do we put them on the back foot? This could be a World Cup final in 12 months' time, and I want to see whether we can play this way in 12 months' time in the biggest occasions. So I'm going to test my players even more. I think this tournament will give us the confidence and belief. I think what these 3 games will have given me, they will have given me that the players believe in what we're doing. And more importantly, I think the people back home have jumped on the train with us and enjoyed it as well. And like I say, we've scored goals, we've been entertaining the way that we've played, and the brand of football that we're playing will mean, even against the USA, win, lose or draw, I want people to enjoy what we're trying to do. And I want the players to enjoy what we're trying to do. So it was what Sir Alex Ferguson drilled into his players at Manchester United, that ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about being up on that podium, lifting the trophy, getting your medal and winning, going home as winners. And there was a period in the second half at 2-1 the other day when I literally had a knot in my stomach at 2-1 down, thinking I hate this feeling. And when we scored the second goal, my only thought was, let's try and win the game, and that's why we made the substitutions. Ultimately, it's all about winning, and coming second, nobody remembers you, but winning, people do, and we want to come back to this She Believes next year as the defending champions.
Well, Joe Curry is covering the game for BBC Sport. Is there a feeling amongst the squad that they can win this?
Hello chappers, yes, welcome to a warm and sunny Orlando. Absolutely, I think after the opening 2 results in those games, thrashing France 4-1, going into that match they'd only beaten them once in 44 years, then drawing with the Olympic champions Germany. Confidence is really high in the squad, and yes, USA, they are the world number 1s, they are the world champions, but they're a team in transition. You think back to that side that won the World Cup in 2015, and so many of their big hitters have retired. There's no Abby Wambach, there's no Hope Solo, whereas the Lionesses have now been together as a group for a number of years, so confidence is high, and I think they've got every right to feel they can win this game.
What are the squad saying to you? You've been around this squad throughout this tournament, but previous tournaments as well. So what are they saying to you about what has changed under the new management?
If I'm honest, I think Neville's style of management is actually quite similar to Mark Sampson's, and that's why the transition has gone so smoothly. He's relaxed, he's enthusiastic, he's a football guy, he's fun. I mean, tomorrow, win, lose or draw, the girls are going to go to Disneyland before they fly home. And I think when it comes to Phil Neville in particular, what's really changed is the respect they have for him because of his former playing career, that time at Manchester United, that time at England. They know he's been there and done it and won stuff, and they know that if they want to take their next step, that they can learn that from him.
Joe, thank you very much. So you'll be able to watch the game tonight on BBC Two. Kick-off is at midnight. There'll be live text commentary on the BBC Sport website as well. England against the USA in the She Believes Cup from Orlando. Just a couple of other sporting lines. The president of World Cycling's governing body has called for an investigation into Team Sky. It follows a parliamentary report alleging the team and Sir Bradley Wiggins crossed an ethical line by using drugs to enhance performance rather than for medical need. They deny any wrongdoing. Dylan Hartley still allowed to lead England in their crucial Six Nations match with France on Saturday. The hooker has a calf injury. He's been assessed again today. Eddie Jones will make a final decision on him in the morning before naming his team. Meanwhile, controversial plans to extend Rugby Union's Premiership season have been shelved by the Players' Union chief Damien Hopley. In cricket, World Cup winner Sarah Taylor and Catherine Brunt have both been left out of England Women's Tour of India. It's a Champions League night on 5 Live Sport. Keep Live Sport. Keep the texts and the tweets coming. 85058 at 5 Live Sport. We'll open the line shortly. 08085 909 693 for your chance to talk to Chris Sutton at full time here at Wembley. Spurs lead Juventus by 1-0. They are 45 minutes away from the Champions League quarter-finals. John Murray.
One thing that we've learned over these two matches is that Fernando Llorente must have been an incredibly popular member of the Juventus squad when he was there for a couple of years, because just as in Turin, the players, he was out there on the field at half-time warming up. When the Juventus players saw him, they couldn't get to him quickly enough. He's on the bench for Tottenham tonight. Second half is underway. Tottenham 1, Juventus 0. That's 3-2 to Spurs on aggregate, and Juventus have given the ball away here in the opening seconds of the second half. Son plays it to Dele Alli, who's upended in the full-back position, and it's a free kick. Chris Sutton to Tottenham.
Really sloppy start from Juventus, and as Son again down the left-hand side, pops it out to Dele Alli. There is contact. Dele Alli trying to cut back. It's clearly caught by Costa, and this is a real opportunity. Eriksson over the ball. So 14-15 yards on that left-hand side of the box.
Big moment right at the start of the second half. Eriksson backs away, a couple of big strides. Here he comes, lays it short for Tongan, shoots, and it's cleared away, headed away in the middle of the penalty area. Back out towards the left-hand side for Tottenham, who are all in white tonight, and Eriksson slips it forward. The pull back from the left-hand side from Davis is cleared away by a stretching Benatia, and Spurs are back in possession again. I was going to say to you, Chris, what Spurs needed to do at the second half, at the start of the second half, is to start positively, and with this 1-0 lead, don't let that affect them. Don't retreat into their shell.
Totally, and what you would expect is Juventus to come out really hard the first 15 minutes of this second half, but first impressions, a minute and a half in the second half, it's Spurs doing the attacking.
Son taking on Barzagli and beating him and crossing, but Benatia got up high unchallenged to head the ball back out towards the far side. That's what Spurs like to see. Son running at the 36-year-old right-sided defender. I'll run you.
Sorry guys, I was not meant to get a pen.
Take this throw to work back up the touchline. Dele Alli turns it back towards the halfway line where Dembele will see it back to Vertonghen, and then Vertonghen actually goes all the way back to Lloris. So the Tottenham side tonight, 2 changes from the first leg. Lamella's on the bench, Aurier suspended, so Son and Trippier have come in.
Lloris in goal, back four of Trippier, Sanchez, Vertonghen and Davis, Dyer and Dembele, Eriksen, Ali, Son and Kane. Son Heung-min, the goal scorer, in the 39th minute, as that was just a little late from Douglas Costa on Ben Davies. Challenge came in after Davis had passed the ball away, and referee Marciniak is just going to have a little word, I think nothing more than that, with it's actually Matuidi, isn't it? As he runs past him, it's only a free kick, nothing more than that.
And breaking the play up, not letting Dybala get any freedom in there.
That's Chris Sutton with us on 5 Live for the Champions League. Chris played for Celtic and Blackburn in the Champions League as Matuidi runs the ball out of play on the halfway line, just next to where Massimiliano Allegri is watching. Throw in taken quickly, and then Dele Alli is bundled over by Benatia, who is yellow carded, and Matuidi comes across. He doesn't like it. More Juventus pointing of fingers, but yellow card for Benatia, who will miss the first leg of the quarter-finals if Juventus win through.
Yeah, it's a very big if. Do you know what? I think that's harsh. I think Benatia, he's entitled to go for that. It's a bouncing ball. You are allowed to tackle. I think he gets the ball, but gets a little bit of Dele Alli.
It's that raised foot, isn't it? It's the underside his studs were showing.
You know, football eventually is going to become a non-contact sport. You are allowed to make a challenge. I think he's unfortunate there.
Free kick to Tottenham. The Juventus side, Buffon in goal, Barzali, Benatia and Chiellini, the 3 central defenders. Douglas Costa and Alexandro playing as wing-backs. The midfield 3 of Pjanic, Khedira and Matuidi, and Dybala and Higuain. Higuain who, well, remember back to the early stages of the first leg in Turin, where, I have to confess, in those first 10 minutes we were already beginning to think, Chris Waddle was with us there that night, that the game could already be up when Juventus were leading by 2 goals to 0. Remember as well the chance that Higuain had, that he steered wide of the post, the missed penalty before half-time. And now here are Tottenham leading by 1 goal to 0 and 3-2 on aggregate, and Dele Alli playing the ball to Eriksen on the right-hand side. Eriksen cuts it back onto his left foot, plays the ball into the penalty area looking for the run of Kane, but it was intercepted by Juventus and cleared away towards Higuain, who's got the ball on the far side, the Argentine, who drops his shoulder and moves in field, but he's very well challenged by Dyer, and now Ali is going to shoot, but mishits it, and it bobbles and bounces away wide of Buffon's right post for a goal kick.
Brilliant from Vertonghen, goes in with Higuain, tries to hold the ball up, makes the challenge, it falls to Dele Alli, 25, 30 yards out. Again, doesn't get great contact on the shot, drags it wide.
Tottenham 1, Juventus 0. This is 5 Live. Listen as well via the BBC Sport app or via the website if you're on your way home. And free kick against Spurs, groans from the home supporters. But Juventus now coming forward as they play from right to left towards the end where their supporters are. Here's Douglas Costa moving in field. He's closely watched by Davis, who put the challenge in, but Juventus maintain possession. Matuidi slips it forward towards Alexandro, cross towards the near post, and a falling, sliding Eric Dyer can only slice it behind for what is Juventus' first corner.
He's that threat. Costa on the right-hand side, coming inside on his left foot, and it's up to the holding midfield players Dembele and Dyer to make sure when he does come inside that they are there.
So set-piece danger here. Tottenham have got to be strong. Corner to be taken from the left-hand side. Here it is, Pjanic plays it over everyone, whether yellow-shirted or white-shirted, and it bounces out of play on the far side for a goal kick. And ironic cheers from the Tottenham supporters. And some of the Juventus flags, including one Italian tricolour, are twirled rather mournfully after that. Have to be better from Juventus. There is lots of goal potential out there on the field for Juventus, but with Bernardeschi injured, with Mandzukic injured, they actually haven't got a forward on the bench, Juventus, here this evening.
No, they haven't, but they haven't got their attacking players into the game, and that's credit to Tottenham as much as anything, and the way they have defended.
And now Dele Alli nips the ball past Chiellini, who comes in with a challenge, and he made contact, down went Ali, and it's a free kick, and it's a yellow card now for Chiellini.
Well, it's actually a really good yellow card for Chiellini, if that makes any sense. Because I think, was it Harry Kane who would have been through? And Dele Alli got past him. I mean, that is Italian style. Wipes Dele Alli out. He knows exactly what he's doing.
How many times do you think Giorgio Chiellini has done that in his career?
Probably into the millions.
I was far too conservative there. I was going thousands. You've gone millions. How very like you that is.
Well, I mean, what they do very well, the Italian defenders, is then they go and pick the player up, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. Oops-a-daisy. But there we are. Ali, by the way, just keep an eye on him and see if he's okay. He's taken a bit of rough treatment this evening, Dele Alli. And a suggestion made to me that he might be limping. Eriksen goes for one of those early passes. And if Dele Alli had been able to latch onto that, he would have been up against Barzali. But Barzali did well, takes it out to the right-hand side. Higuain plays it forward, but the offside flag was up instantly on the far side. And it's a free kick to Tottenham.
For Higuain
coming back on.
Yeah. Because it was a wonderful touch into Dybala, and that is the danger. It just takes one moment. The defender switching off. I think the assistant's got that one right.
Tottenham 1, Juventus 0. Chris Sutton with us. Still Manchester City 1, Basel 1. So that's 5-1 to Manchester City, who are on the way through to the quarter-finals. Chiellini is just able to hold off Harry Kane and return the ball to Buffon, who chips it back to Alexandro, who heads it back to Chiellini, who takes it down, scoops it forward to Alexandro. Good Tottenham pressing. Eriksen deflected out of play for a throw-in to Juventus. Still Kilmarnock 1, 10-man St Johnstone 0, and Leeds United 0. Championship leaders Wolves 2 at Elland Road. As Dybala, just a little foul on him, free kick in the central third, and now there's a little bit of a dust-up between Pjanic and Dele Alli off the ball. The referee spotted it, sprinted across. Pjanic is the first player he talks to, then he just has a word with Dele Alli, and the two of them part.
Well, he's got to be careful, Pjanic. I think he's had a little kick out at Dele Alli, more petulance.
It's only a yellow card,
anything,
Pjanic.
yeah.
Juventus have a man sent off here. And that would be so careless. Ball played up towards Harry Kane with Benatia tight to him, and then a foul by Harry Kane as the ball bounced away, and that's a yellow card for Dele Alli. It was Dele Alli who put in the challenge, and so now Dele Alli also in a position where he has to be very, very careful, and he is being wound up. He's doing a bit of winding up, but he's also being wound up.
He is, and you know what? It's really important for Dele Alli's maturity as a player that he doesn't fall for these little tricks. Spurs are in front. They're controlling the game. They're controlling possession. Use your head, Dele Alli. He's been brilliant tonight. Really influential.
Carelessly given away by Juventus. So Alexandro passed it straight to Dembele in centre field. So Tottenham, as they play from left to right, leading by 1-0. That's 3-2 on aggregate. Have possession inside the Juventus half. And Eric Dyer curls one forward. Chiellini, under no particular pressure, is able to hook it away. And now Vertonghen has to get his head down and play the ball to Davis on the left-hand side. Yeah, so Dele Alli and Vertonghen have received yellow cards for Tottenham as Barzali commits a foul on the far side of the field.
Simply, he cannot cope with Son.
Foul Son for the 4th time. And it's a free kick to Tottenham.
I mean, you feel for him, 36 years old, getting dragged out in that right-back area, clumsy challenge. I just wonder whether that's an area where Allegri may think about change. But Lichtsteiner, who's, with the greatest respect, far more athletic than Barzagli.
So, the lines are open, by the way, for the Football Social, the 5 Live Football Social. You can get in touch to talk to Chris Sutton. Mark Chapman is here with us at Wembley as well. And we will bring you a reaction as well from downstairs here at Wembley Stadium during the course of the last half hour or so of the programme. Eriksen plays it to Son. Son now curls the ball goalwards, but he got right underneath it and it sailed away very high and wide for a goal kick. So 08 085 909 693. You can get in touch now as well. Social media at 5Live Sport. Text 85058. And remember, everything we do here this evening, you'll be able to pick it up on the 5Live Football Daily podcast from the 5Live website. Tottenham 1, Juventus 0. And the ball bouncing out of play for a throw into Juventus halfway inside their own territory.
Tottenham, John, their plan is simple, isn't it? Get it left, get it out left to Son, and you just keep driving at Barzagli. They just cannot cope with him.
Yeah, it's quite a loss, isn't it, that De Sciglio was injured, the right back, who did travel, which probably underlines the importance, but isn't even on the bench. Here is Eriksson winning the ball back from Khedira, and then Eriksson is upended.
Pjanic again.
And the referee walks across there. Well, free kick, which they're going to take quickly. They do, Tottenham. The referee allows it to continue. Oh, and Son's cross hits the first defender and bounces behind.
Well, Pjanic doesn't look like he wants to be out there. That was a really stupid, clumsy challenge. I tell you what, deserving of a second yellow.
And the attendance, 84,010 inside Wembley Stadium here tonight for the second leg of this Champions League round of 16 tie, and you cannot take your eyes off it. It's actually Asamoah who's going to come on, who can play at fullback. Corner then for Tottenham, played in, a stretch from Harry Kane, but on the stretch he could only just divert it really at Buffon from an angle at the back post, and the Italian goalkeeper, 40 years old now, was able to take it quite comfortably. 1-0, 3-2 to Spurs on aggregate. Sanchez with an excellent challenge on Higuain, took the ball, took the man, and now Tottenham with Trippier playing it forward to Dele Alli down the right hand side. Benatia comes in tight and gets ball and man, just pops it out for a throw, and we're going to see the change now. This is the first substitution of the match, and it's Matuidi who is going to make way. So there's going to be a reshuffle here. Looks as though he sacrificed one of those central midfielders, the three central midfielders that most of the time Allegri likes to play, and Asamoah is going to come on, the Ghanaian international. Tottenham 1, Juventus 0. Trippier takes the throw infield.
Oh shit, that was not meant to happen. Do that.
Samoa, Alexandro is there as well with his cross. Higuain got his toe end to it ahead of Vertonghen, but could only deflect it and steer it high over the crossbar for a goal kick.
Yeah, that scraps for Higuain. Asamoah, who's come on in the left back position. Sandro has moved up one. The ball whipped in from the left hand side. That's not a chance for Higuain. Gets across his defender. But Lloris hasn't been tested enough tonight.
And now Benatia is off. So second substitution in the space of a couple of minutes, probably less than that. And coming onto the field for Juventus is Lichtsteiner. So Lichtsteiner, who himself is no spring chicken at 34 years old, the Swiss World Cup player. And it's a back four now, certainly for Juventus. So Barzagli alongside Chiellini at the back, part of the old firm. And Chiellini's actually taken a knock. And so we've got a free kick for Juventus. And now Harry Kane doing a Chiellini and hauling Chiellini to his feet. How do you like that, Signor?
It's been a good scrap, hasn't it? And Harry Kane backing in, has a little look over his shoulder. Chiellini commits and then topples over the back of Harry Kane.
So Juventus 1-0 down here. Allegri making the tactical change because he has to go for the goal. Alexandro in a central position here. Alexandro cutting back onto his left foot and playing it to Asamoah, who pulls the ball down and crosses left foot into the near post. Sanchez went for it and then advances out for Dybala, who hits the shot from the angle that flies away across the face of goal. And if he'd been able to control that, he went for it on the volley and sliced it well wide, Dybala.
Well, that's the first mistake Davinson Sanchez has made all evening. There's a ball whipped in from the left-hand side, level with the 18-yard box. I think Sanchez should try and head that out the way it came. Dybala on his left foot, it's sat perfectly. He's a wonderful technician. It's a really good strike that goes wide.
Offside flag against Son, who lifts the ball goalwards and wide anyway. So it's a goal kick to Juventus, and Tottenham are leading by a goal to 0. What's the latest in Manchester, Conor McNamara?
Well, it's still 1-1 on the night here. Manchester City leading 5-1 in aggregate. City have never won both legs of a knockout tie in the Champions League. Gabriel Jesus scored for them tonight, his first goal since the 18th of November. A decent equaliser, though, for Basel, but they've been playing within themselves ever since then. Manchester City dominating possession, slow tempo to the game. 1-1 on the night, 5-1 to Manchester City on aggregate, and heading towards the Champions League quarter-finals.
Kilmarnock have scored a second goal against St Johnstone. Lee Irwin, St Johnstone playing with 10 men. And we're going to go to Elland Road in a moment, but Juventus on the attack, 1-0 down. Here they come, Lichtsteiner, the ball's headed across. It's poked goalwards and in by Higuain in the 6-yard box. Clever finish by Higuain. He had a lot to do there as it was flicked onto him by Khedira, but he managed to adjust, and that was deadly, the finish from the right foot. And it's 1-1 now on the night, 3-3 on aggregate.
Well, that's all it takes. Game on, tie on. We've seen nothing of Higuain all evening. The change of system from Allegri, and they're a 4-4-2 now. As a ball whipped in from the sub, Lichtsteiner on the right-hand side, flicked on by Khedira. Higuain, Fox in the box outside of the right foot, 6 yards into the far corner. Clever finish, the outside of his right boot. Tottenham have got work to do.
Well, that has sent a shiver around the Tottenham fans inside Wembley Stadium. So Juventus now knowing that they are potentially 1 goal away from knocking out Tottenham. At the moment, Spurs are ahead, courtesy of the 2 away goals that they scored in Turin 3 weeks ago. But suddenly, I mean, they're so ruthless, aren't they, Juventus? And that was, in a flash, it was in the net there. And now here's another one forward for Higuain to chase, but it's headed down by Trippier. And Sanchez passes it to Eriksen, who will play it back towards Lloris, who passes it away to Ben Davies, who's over the halfway line. Once again, I suppose the message for Tottenham is to not be put off your stride, but that's much more easily said than done after Higuain scored his 3rd goal of the tie.
And you can feel it. You can feel it in the stadium. The first misplaced pass from a Tottenham player, Ben Davies, and the crowd are groaning. We are going to learn so much about Tottenham in this last 25 minutes. Can they hang on? Can they see it through? Can they show maturity?
But we said of this Tottenham side, when they drew Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid in the group, that we would find out what they were made of. And they came through that with flying colours. Won against both Dortmund and Real Madrid, scored 3 goals in each match here at Wembley. But now this is the knockout stage. This is where such pressure is on here against tried and tested Champions League performers. Sonasi has gone down off the ball on the far side of the pitch, and Lichtsteiner is just, there's nothing nasty in this. He's back on his feet, Son.
Yes, just coming together, wasn't it?
Yeah. Played forward from the back by Chiellini, and then Higuain plays it through the middle. Dybala is onside. He's 1-on-1 with Lloris. He scores. He plants it past the Tottenham goalkeeper, and now Juventus are in charge in the tie. They lead by 2 goals to 1. And almost in the blinking of an eye, this tie has turned around in Juventus' favour. Tottenham 1, Juventus 2, and now it is 4-3 to the Italian champions on aggregate.
Well, Tottenham just shell-shocked, absolutely shell-shocked. Didn't recover from the first goal, and it was clever by Higuain on the half-turn. Just coming off his centre-half, Sanchez, and then Dybala makes the run. He's onside, played onside by the left back, and I tell you what, once he's in, he's not going to miss that. Composed finish, fires it past Lloris into the far corner. Wonderful reverse pass from Higuain. Tottenham have got all sorts of work to do. It's a brilliant finish, John, it really is, but once he gets in, I tell you, he's not going to miss. Has a look at Lloris and fires it, whips it across him into the top corner.
Yeah, just as he ran through sort of inside left position, he
on his left foot, his favoured left foot that Mina Izuki was talking to us about before the game. And a great finish. There was almost no doubt. And Juventus scored 2 goals in 3 minutes. And now Tottenham have got the score. And we're looking at the possibility, if Tottenham can do that, of extra time. And now it's the Juventus supporters, nearly 4,000 of them inside Wembley Stadium. On the lower level, on the far side to us, the end that Dybala has just scored, who are buoyant. I think they were fearing the worst, you know, the way that the game was going. But the two main men, the front men, Higuain and Dybala, their leading scorers this season. Higuain now 21 goals this season, Dybala 19. They have transformed this game in the Italian club's favour. And now Asamoah is fouled by Trippier, and Trippier's frustrated that Asamoah has gone down, but it's a free kick to Juventus, who are now suddenly in charge, Chris Sutton.
Well, this level, this Champions League level, you get through to the knockout phase, and it can be brutal. And do you know what? We haven't seen Higuain. We've barely seen Dybala. They've had 2 chances. Lloris hasn't really been tested. See pictures of Mauricio Pochettino. He looks shell-shocked. Really does. Tottenham have to somehow come out of this malaise. They look confused. They look bemused, baffled. They need to screw their heads on, get their heads right, and somehow work the way back, make a couple of passes. Because we've seen them going forward. They are a threat. Don't concede another one, though.
Oh, Davis's clearance has bounced back for Juventus, and now Douglas Costa's inside the penalty area, and Lloris had to be quick across, and he was, to the corner of his 6-yard box, and Lloris delivers this away downfield for Harry Kane to chase. Barzali allows it to run and bounce out of play for a throw-in to Juventus, and now it's important to mention how long we have to play here. Just over 20 minutes to go. Tottenham 1, Juventus 2, and as it is, it's Juventus who are going through to the quarter-finals again, leading by 4 goals to 3 on aggregate. And we talk so often, don't we, about the importance of European experience in the latter stages of the Champions League. And now Higuain wins it back and plays it through for Dybala, and importantly for Tottenham, Vertonghen was able to stretch his legs and get there first. And now Tottenham, understandably, are looking rather rattled here. Dembele back to Eric Dyer, and now Dembele with a touch which carries it out of play for a throw-in off Douglas Costa for Tottenham on the far side of the ground. But it's not a coincidence that Juventus have been able to work their way through to the final of this competition twice in the last 3 seasons. And here they are again with Lichtsteiner, who set up the equalising goal for Higuain. Steiner with it on the right-hand side. Challenge comes in, and it's deflected out of play for a Tottenham throw.
But what this Juventus side are, they are streetwise. They are smart. They are wily. They stay in games. And, you know, if you're a Tottenham player, you're out there tonight, they'll be thinking, how are we behind in this tie? But they should take confidence from Turin, the way they came back, where, you know, after 9 minutes it looked over. So plenty of time yet. Spurs just need to be patient and get a foothold again in this match, which they've dominated for most.
Yep, 20 minutes to play. It's Tottenham 1, Juventus 2, 5 Live in the BBC Sport app. Here's Trippier now down the right-hand side. Trippier checks back. Manchester City are on their way through, obviously, but there has been a goal, Conor McNamara.
Goal for Basel, so Basel take the lead on the evening. They lead 2-1. Manchester City still comfortably ahead on aggregate and heading for the quarter-finals. But this record for City of never having won both legs of a Champions League knockout tie certainly looks like it could be continuing here. Excellent goal. Michael Lang, tight angle, drilled it high above Bravo's head into the top corner.
Not only that, I think if I remember rightly, that could be Manchester City's first home defeat since 2016. So they're 2-1 down to Basel, but going through 5-2 on aggregate. Kilmarnock still leading 2-0 against St Johnstone. Leeds 0, Wolves 2 at Elland Road is the latest score there. Lines open for the Football Social on 5 Live. 08085 909 693. We may have that conversation that we were talking about before the game with Mark Chapman about what it would mean for Tottenham were they not to get through this evening. Get in touch at 5 Live Sport 85058. And Eric Lamela is being told by Mauricio Pochettino to get ready. He's yet to make a change this evening, Pochettino. Tottenham with the ball on the halfway line. They're struggling to get back into the game.
You just feel that they need a spark. Lamela may be the man, but it's all gone extremely flat, and they just don't have that confidence. But they've got it all to do, because Juventus are just going to suck it up now. They're not going to move. 2 banks of 4. They don't concede many goals, John.
Eriksson bringing the ball out towards the left-hand side to Davis. Dembele. Juventus now have Tottenham where they want them. Son to the edge of the penalty area. Eriksson stretching. He's going to go for goal, but it's blocked. 2 men there. Pjanic was one of them. Pjanic. The ball bounces for him, and then he goes down under the lightest of contact from Trippier, who is less than impressed. Free kick, Juventus.
And we saw Dybala on the far side just a couple of moments ago do the same thing. They're the best in the business at buying free kicks, running the clock down.
And it's Eric Dyer who is going to be withdrawn. I wondered if it was Son who is taking a bit of punishment this evening, but it's Eric Dyer. So in the same way that we saw Allegri bring off one of his midfielders, Matuidi, just before Juventus turned the tie around, now Pochettino is trying to do something similar. So he's off and Lamela is on. Here's Son on the left-hand side, right-footed ball in. Kane was challenged by Chiellini, and the ball bounces down for Lichtsteiner to pass it away up towards the right-hand side to Dybala, who scored at the moment what would be the clinching goal of the tie. Juventus leading 2-1. Dembele puts in a challenge, good one as well, on Dybala, who wanted a free kick. It's not given. Now Eriksson works the ball towards the right-hand side. That sort of challenge from Dembele is exactly what Tottenham lead. Trippier plays it back towards the halfway line. Vertonghen forward towards Dembele. Dembele shuffles forward with it, plays it to Dele Alli, who tried to flick it through for Lamela to run onto it. So with Tottenham having Son and Lamela and Eriksson and Kane and Ali on the field, how are they working this, Chris?
Well, Dembele's just sat, or is usually sat in front of that back 4. They've got Lamela just playing, I think, off Harry Kane and off that right-hand side. He's got an extra attacker on. That may open up the spaces for Juventus, and we see them attacking at the moment.
Yes, it might. Exploit. No Eric Dyer now, so Eriksson had to drop back into position alongside Dembele. Just over 15 minutes to play now. The clock for Tottenham seems to be whizzing round. Tottenham 1, Juventus 2.
Well, you have to say, Allegri, the changes he's made, that has been the difference. And Spurs just never really got to grips with that. And they just went to a 4-4-2, got the ball wide. And Spurs are rattled.
But the return from that, the double change, not at the same time, one shortly after the other, taking off Matuidi, bringing on Lichtsteiner and Asamoah, change of system. I mean, it brought instant dividends, scoring 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes. We are now into the last 15 minutes. Tottenham need to score a goal without reply to take the tie into extra time. Here's Sanchez. Sanchez to Eriksson. Juventus have got massed ranks of yellow shirts back in position. So well drilled. Asamoah struggles to keep it in. Stopped it from going out for a corner though. It's a throw-in near the corner flag, just down to our right. Trippier takes the throw towards Lamela. Oh, Lamela beats Asamoah brilliantly. Into the box now. Curls it across, but onto the head of Chiellini, who was able to stoop and head it away.
Good was that from Lamela on the byline. No space, but guess who was there?
Chiellini. Going to be absolutely fascinating to see. Here's Trippier now crossing from the right-hand side. Kane peeled away. In fact, it was overhit out to the left-hand side. It's pulled back across by Davis. Dembele puts his foot on the ball. Closed down by Khedira. Dembele turns away from Khedira. Stabs the ball into the penalty area. Shouts for a handball on the edge of the box by Douglas Costa. I think that was optimistic. More of a crowd shout than anything else. Headed forward by Sanchez. Here's Son now in a more central position. Son trying to work a position. Oh, he's gone past 2 men. Son into the penalty area. The angle's tight. Plays it out to the left-hand side. Davis crosses. It's gone a long way. And it's hooked away by Alexandro.
That's a brilliant driving run. A couple of step-overs from Son. Pops it out wide, cross in. And last ditch from Sandro. Overhead kick.
Tottenham are building ahead of steam, Chris. And now Vertonghen lifts it into the area. Kane heads it back down, but he heads it down to Asamoah, who's able to control it. and volley it away for Juventus, who lead by 2 goals to 1. The Italian champions, 6 times in a row. Eriksen, now to Son, plays it across, and Kane was lurking, but Chiellini got there first and steered it behind, wide of the post for a corner.
Well, that was an outstanding crossfield ball, lovely knockback from Son, Chiellini. That's why he's a world-class defender, read that situation so well.
The positive thing from Tottenham's point of view is that they've found their feet again in the game here. Here's the corner. Eriksen swings it in. Kane was after it, but this one was headed away a good distance centrally by Lichtsteiner. Comes back out towards the left-hand side for Tottenham. Eriksen rolls it back towards Dele Alli. Packed penalty area still following the set piece. We're going to go to Elland Road when we get a chance. But here's Dele Alli now turning near the corner of the penalty area. Eriksen tried to play it through, came at him very quickly from Dele Alli. And now the danger, of course, is that Juventus could break on the counter-attack. Higuain on the right-hand side. Higuain takes the ball down the right wing. Dangerously, Khedira's in the middle. Dybala is short. Dybala takes it, plays it infield towards Pjanic with his yellow shirt outside his blue shorts. Pjanic turns away from Son, and now Juventus are keeping the ball inside the Tottenham half. After that period of pressure from Tottenham that came to nothing, but they were threatening Tottenham for that period. Asamoah goes back towards the halfway line to Chiellini. Harry Kane won a couple of early tussles with Harry Kane, but Chiellini has won a couple more in the second half. Ball played through towards the edge of the penalty area for Tongan, just lifts it out of play. So we'll go to Elland Road and John Akers.
Wolves are heading 6 points clear at the top of the championship. It's Leeds 0, Wolves 3. Brilliant finish from Benik Afobe on as a substitute. First goal since he signed on loan. First time over the keeper from 30 yards chasing a bouncing ball. Leeds 0, Wolves 3.
Oh, nice turn by Alexandra away from Son. Juventus leading by 2 goals to 1 here on the night and by 4 goals to 3 on aggregate. Juventus going back towards the halfway line. By the way, if you're up late into the night this evening, Philip Neville's England team play their final match at the She Believes Cup against the USA from midnight. You can follow it, BBC 2, the website, via the iPlayer, and Joe Curry is there in Florida, and she'll keep us posted on 5 Live. Tottenham with the ball at the back. Trippier receives it back from Lloris, but Lloris passed it behind Trippier, who had to slam the brakes on and drop back. And so there is no momentum in this attack for Tottenham, who are just keeping possession inside their own half. Come on, you Spurs, sings most of Wembley. 10 minutes exactly to play here. Lamela turns, plays it out towards the left-hand side to Davis. Davis's cross, it was over Barzagli, but it was over Lamela as well, and it's headed out of play back for a throw-in on the left-hand side.
Those 2 centre-halves, old school, Dad's Army, you could call them, but they just love defending. They love throwing their bodies on the line, heading things. They're narrowed up, making it really difficult for Spurs.
Eriksen does well, takes it around Douglas Costa. Now the cross from the left-hand side. Son takes it down on his chest. Son, back to Eriksen, shoots, wide, via a deflection. And there were players standing there as if time stood still as the ball whistled just past the post.
Oh, I tell you what, Son does really well. On his chest, lays it back to Eriksen. He's just trying to feed it in 12 yards into that near post.
Corner, Tottenham on the right. Eriksen plays it across, comes off the head of Higuain, and that's carried it away out towards the left-hand side. I mean, how Tottenham can find space inside this penalty area, this packed Juventus box. Here's the cross from the left-hand side, which is headed out of play at the near post by Khedira for another Tottenham corner, this time from the left-hand side. We've got 8.5 minutes to play, and it's 2-1 to Juventus, and Tottenham are going out of the Champions League here tonight. They'll be the first English club to go out if it stays like this. But Tottenham pressure. Here comes the corner. Khedira heads it back into his own 6-yard box. Buffon comes and gets a rather dainty punch on it under pressure. Finds its way back towards the left-hand side for Tottenham. It's Lamela, plays it across towards Eriksen. Eriksen now goes for the ball into the box. This time it's headed away, only out to Son. Son curls a shot, goalwards! Just wide of the foot of the post.
Didn't think it was a good option to whip the ball in from Eriksen too straight. As it comes out to Son, shifts it from right foot onto his left foot. agonisingly goes wide of the far post, 25 yards. Let's see how close that is. Oh, I don't think Buffon's getting that.
Juventus are going to make a change. This may take some time. Higuain, after his recent injury, only coming back tonight, is walking, he's applauding. So while they do that, Juventus, let's get another update from Conor McNamara at the Manchester City game.
Manchester City, free kick played into the penalty area by Zane, but easily cleared away by Basel. Their supporters are enjoying this now. They're going out of the Champions League, but they're on the verge of beating Manchester City. It would be a fourth defeat of the season for Pep Guardiola's team in all competitions. 7 minutes to go. Gabriel Jesus put City in front, but it's Manchester City 1, Basel 2 on the night. Manchester City still comfortably 5-2 ahead in aggregate.
This is 5 Live. Listen as well by the BBC Sport app, as Tottenham 1, Juventus 2 is the score here at Wembley. We're taking your calls on whatever happens in the next 8 minutes plus added time on 08085 909 693 with Mark Chapman here with us at Wembley and Chris Sutton too, plus assorted other guests, and we will try and bring you reaction from Mauricio Pochettino and Tottenham to whatever happens here. Spurs going to bring on Llorente. There's a story there in the making against his old club in a moment or two. Ball played forward for Juventus though, and Vertonghen is able to play it back to Lloris inside the penalty area, who passes out to Davis, who's being put under pressure by Douglas Costa, and he is though able to find Eriksen. Back now to Dembele, across to Sanchez. Llorente waiting to come on.
Yeah, Juventus made the change. Sturaro to bolster that midfield.
He came on for Higuain. So it's the classic, isn't it? It's the classic changes. He made attacking changes when they needed the goals. They found the goals, and now he's made a more defensive change. Sturaro in midfield. Eriksen out towards the left-hand side. And now Davis cuts inside. Douglas Costa. Davis crosses right across the penalty area. Son will do well to keep that in. He did keep it in. And so he has it in the full-back position. Son with a pass back outside the area to Eriksen. Sets himself, shoots, but well wide of the mark.
I'll tell you what. Harry Kane was onside in that situation, saw the assistant. Just wonder, as Eriksen shoots, could Kane, is trying to get a touch on that and deflect it goalwards.
Right, Llorente, and it's Dele Alli who is off. Well, I suppose it had to be one of the forward players, and it's Dele Alli who sprints off the field in stark contrast to the slow walk of Gonzalo Higuain, who scored the equaliser for Juventus tonight in the 64th minute, and then set through Dybala to score what could be the winning goal for Juventus in this round of 16 tie. What a bearing Higuain has had on this tie, both good and bad, and it looks as though he might have just about the final say. Here is Lamela on the right-hand side. Lamela takes it on, square ball from him towards Davis, then back to Eriksen. Juventus have everyone behind the ball now, understandably so. Tottenham 2-1 down on the night, going out. Trippier plays it back to Lamela. Lamela though back towards Dembele. You can hear the frustration of the Tottenham fans inside Wembley Stadium. Vertonghen cuts back onto his right foot. Eriksen, so well drilled Juventus. Dembele now, he has a shuffle forward, but Dybala has put himself in position. Dembele drives it to the edge of the area. Kane and Llorente there together, and the ball bounces down, and Juventus are able to take it away. And Dybala returns it to Asamoah, who sent it downfield, but Sanchez pulls that down very nicely and plays it to Lloris.
And every attacking player back behind the ball, shuffling across. It's attack v defence now, and everything is so congested in that central area. The space is out wide for Spurs.
Brilliantly poised Champions League tie here. The attacking Tottenham Hotspur have to find a goal against the famous Juventus defence. Here is Vertonghen. Ball to the left-hand side to Davis. Davis taking on Lichtsteiner. Takes him on round the outside. Crosses. Lichtsteiner got his foot in, and Barzagli comes across and is able to play it to Douglas Costa. And the time now, we have 3.5 minutes of time to play plus added time. Tottenham have to score to take it to extra time. Otherwise they're going out, and they've conceded a free kick.
Well, you're at the stage now where if you're Spurs, you just give me one more chance, just give me one more opportunity. Juventus are the masters at running the clock down. That's all Spurs can hope for. However it comes, one more chance. Can we take it?
Buffon takes the free kick downfield, just hits it long, gives possession back to Tottenham. Trippier, now to Vertonghen. One or two Tottenham fans beginning to move towards the exits, but the vast majority staying to see if there is late drama. And now Eriksson shoots on the edge of the area. It was blocked by a defender. Llorente shoots. That was also blocked by Sturaro on the edge of the penalty area. And then Dembele slides in and fouls him. And it's a yellow card. And Dybala stays down, obviously.
Well, that's as good as a goal for me. I think it was Chiellini twice on the edge of the area. You've seen him do it over the years, just throws his body, blocks once, gets up, blocks again, and is cleared, and Juventus just buying time.
Manchester City are on their way through, even though they're losing at home to Basel, but 2-1 on the night to Basel, 5-2 to Manchester City. So it's certainly going to be two clubs into the quarter-finals tonight. Next week we'll have commentary from Old Trafford as Manchester United try to get through, and from Barcelona as well, as Chelsea try to find a way through against Barcelona. That's Tuesday and Wednesday night next week. But here, Tottenham now with the ball inside their own half, but the pass forward from Davis is intercepted, and Juventus look to break away down the right-hand side with Lichtsteiner. And now Dybala waits in the middle. Sturaro is there as well, but it's been taken out towards the corner flag by Lichtsteiner, who was unable to win a throw-in or a corner. So it's a goal kick to Tottenham. 90 seconds, less than that to go, plus added time. Tottenham have to find one more goal or they're going out here. What a disappointment this will be. They were leading 1-0 at half-time, but a tactical change, a personnel change by Allegri turned it around, and Higuain and Dybala scored. Here's Llorente, though, to the edge of the penalty area. Lamela stretching for it, ran away from him. Davis, though, takes it up again. Son left side of the box. Son turns, back to Davis. Davis chips it across. Kane with a header down, it bounces, hits the pole, and is cleared off the line. It's cleared off the line by Barzagli. How did that not go in from Harry Kane, who got up high? Whether he was climbing on the defender is another issue. He bounced the header down, it hit the inside of the post, and Barzagli managed to get himself there to volley it away to safety. Inches, possibly even less than that. And now Tottenham again for handball against Davis.
I think from the initial cross, to be honest, John, he's offside as the ball comes in. But I tell you what, it's a terrific header. Not great pace on the ball. Gets his neck muscles working. Goes back across the goalkeeper. I thought it was in. Far angle. There's Buffon. He doesn't get a touch. It's not in. Barzagli hooks it away to safety.
That could be it. That could be the moment that Tottenham wanted. And Harry Kane, the width of a post. Agonising for Tottenham. 3 minutes of added time. We're just into that time now. Trippier, long ball forward. That's where it's got to go. Headed on by Llorente. Cleared away on the edge of the area by Barzagli. And now Sturaro does well. And allows it to run to Dybala. And Dybala is just going to run this away downfield. Allegri there. He's almost on the pitch urging his team on. Pjanic challenged by Llorente, but Pjanic does well to hold off Llorente, and now Lichtsteiner is going to walk this forward almost down the right-hand side. Juventus masters of running the clock down. Lichtsteiner receiving the ball back from Douglas Costa, and now just shielding it from the Tottenham defenders. Douglas Costa into the penalty area. A shot on the turn, which is straight at Lloris from Sturaro. Lloris immediately dispatches it downfield. We're into the second minute of 3 of added time here at Wembley Stadium on 5 Live. Tottenham have to find a goal, otherwise they're going out. And that would only take it to extra time, remember. It would be 2-2 on the night after 2-2 in the first leg. Lloris passing the ball out towards Vertonghen. Allegri is again almost on the pitch, urging his players back into position. Long ball forward towards Trippier on the right-hand side. Trippier plays it across, far too close to Buffon, who's able to drop on it easily.
Well, Spurs have to be direct. They've got Llorente now playing up alongside Kane. They go big into him. He doesn't win the first header. It's a chance for Trippier. Needed to get a better cross in.
The Harry Kane
gathers.
Sorry, Chris. The Harry Kane header that hit the post made you think that it might not be their night, but maybe One last chance. Up it goes towards Llorente on the edge of the area. He's beaten in the air. It's headed down by Sturaro. Dybala, and Sanchez is able to win it back. Tottenham turn it out towards the right-hand side here. Llorente. And Dybala has gone down. And Trippier is motioning with his foot.
It's an incident between Dybala and Sanchez, and Dybala goes down. All what happened is Sanchez just flicks his right arm out. There's a coming together to say get off. Dybala makes a big meal of that, feigns injury, claims he was elbowed, but in Italian style he has bought time on his side of free kick, and that will probably be it streetwise.
And many teams would do the same, of course. And now the 3 minutes are up. And the referee puts his whistle to his mouth and says, that's it. Juventus have knocked Tottenham out of the Champions League. For so long, it looked so good for Mauricio Pochettino's side. But Juventus, with all of their know-how, their class, their experience, suddenly, midway through the second half, a tactical change, a personnel change, and they changed the game with 2 goals in 3 minutes. Enormous Champions League disappointment for Tottenham and Mauricio Pochettino, but Juventus have found a way through. 2-1 on the night, 4-3 on aggregate. Chris Sutton.
Well, I'm shell-shocked, and the Spurs players look absolutely out on their feet and shell-shocked as well. It was 2 or 3 minutes of sheer madness from Spurs, which lost them the game. You credit Allegri. Spurs were in total control in the first half. They go a goal up, they're strolling through the second half. Higuain barely got the kick, Dybala barely got the kick, but when they did, what a difference they made. And then we saw at the old school, streetwise Italian defending. They love defending, defended for their lives, and actually saw the game out pretty well.
They did. That moment, that Harry Kane moment,
don't get too
when
excited.
the header bounced against the inside of the post and Barzagli got back and hooked it away, volleyed it off the line. And now we're seeing Juventus celebrations inside Wembley Stadium. This is the club who have reached the final 9 times. This is the club who've been in the final in 2 of the last 3 seasons, outclassed when they got there against Barcelona and Real Madrid. And now they're celebrating together, hand in hand, running towards the 3,000-4,000 Juventus fans who are celebrating wildly in one corner of Wembley Stadium, while the Tottenham players troop off towards the dressing room, defeated, beaten and out of the Champions League. Mark Chapman.
What was it, John? 4 minutes between the 2 goals? 3 minutes between the 2 goals. And that's what's done Spurs, Chris Sutton. That 3-minute, 4-minute period.
Was a change of system, a change of personnel, nothing spectacular. Juventus had to change it. They weren't threatening enough. You know, they were impotent in attack. They really were. But you know, Higuain, we talked about him, hadn't had a chance. When he got the chance, he took it, and then you have to say the second goal was beautifully worked. And I spoke about Dybala at the top of the show. It was as soon as he's in 1v1, he has a look, he has a wand of a left foot, and he found that top corner. He wasn't going to miss. And then, you know, Spurs come out of this, they will feel unlucky, the Harry Kane moment in the last minute. But it's a brutal lesson. I mean, Mauricio Pochettino talked about, he said he is a dreamer. Well, this was a harsh reality. It turned into a...
That's that. Spurs being kicked out. Juventus are through. Man City lose, but through to the quarterfinal. They lost, but they will to the quarterfinal. If you just join me, well, I mean, like if you just join me now, then I was in my live stream, so hope everyone enjoyed the live stream. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I see you guys on the next live stream. I see you guys on the next live stream. Until then, this is Maze 2K Zone. Peace out.